My name is Sara Rivera. I was born in Cary, North Carolina. So I identify as just generally queer,
Hmm.
um, in terms of sexuality and gender, more specifically bisexual, just like not really restricted to either sort of presentation, just attracted to who I'm attracted to. And then identify also more on like the more fluid side of like the gender scale, more in the middle, kind of on either side, depending on the day. And for religion, I was raised like by a pagan and a an ex um, Catholic, so um, but raised in the Bible Belt. So I, even though I didn't have strong religious like upbringing in terms of like my family, at least my immediate family, I was like surrounded by Christianity and especially like Southern Baptist sort of um, that sort of attitude that really colored the way that I live. I consider myself queer and however you want to interpret that, more specifically bisexual. And the reason I kind of specify is because I like queer as like a big umbrella term, and it's
Hmm.
easier to just say that than like qualify my sexuality in any way because I
Hmm.
just don't. I understand it matters, but also like kind of doesn't matter. And queer is just a very useful term. Um, so I usually stick with that. And then if people want more specifics, it's just bisexual, but not in a binary way. Bisexuality by itself encompasses all possible genders on
Hmm.
the spectrum. Pansexuality is like risen up as like we're the most inclusive one, but bisexuality was never exclusive.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was the term that I found earlier on than pan, and so that's the one that I choose to go with.
Hmm.
And that sort of came about like I didn't really bisexual erasure is a big thing, and I didn't really know it was an option. I just knew there was like gay and straight,
Hmm.
and I figured I like guys, I guess I'm straight. And then when I came back, I like had more of an eye out for stuff happening in Silva, and there's like a huge queer community here, and so I've been able to find that group, and I started doing drag last August, and have really like we have multiple drag shows a month, and we have drag karaoke every Wednesday, and it's just like I've been able to find this beautiful community, and um, it's really helped me feel really accepted and come to terms with like that there's nothing wrong with me and like how I feel is totally fine, and there's so many other ways that all of this can like look, and there's no boundaries to any of it, and it's been really beautiful, and I'm really grateful to have found that. I feel like my position of not being raised in the religion but being in the South is very unique. I feel like that's not most people's story.
Hmm.
Um, and so seeing how religion has honestly fucked up so many of my friends and like their relationships with their families, and I just don't feel like it makes sense that a religion that preaches love and acceptance is so hateful. Like I don't understand that, and um, it's really I in any opportunity I could have had to like get closer to religion, like maybe that's where I would have found my like community in 2020 or whatever, but instead I found it in this, and it's become its own like quasi-religious thing wherein we like worship each other and we worship free expression, and we all have our own views. I think it's definitely grown my confidence. It's grown my ability to express how I feel on the inside with the outside. Like I love earrings, so I always make sure I'm wearing fun earrings if I'm feeling an earring day, you know. It's given me like agency and power, I would say, like beyond just dressing up, and like I feel like my drag is very unique. Like I try to incorporate science communication in it as often as I can, and I try to tell stories. Yeah, like um I have a whole like firefly mix. It's like 8 different songs and teaches about predatory fireflies, and it's really
That's so
fun, and like getting to take this like art form and try to include fun messages in it is like my favorite thing. So it's given me a really good creative outlet. It's helped me like figure out like different ways to teach science and art and tell stories, and then being able to translate that into like how I'm translating myself for the world. Um, Also gives me a great opportunity to go clothes shopping, which I love because I love being able to find different ways to express myself and feel comfortable. I just never saw it as like an option to be bi because I never saw a representation of it. I didn't like know it was a thing really. And then that big moment of realizing like, oh no, I like female presenting people in a different way. Like, um, I don't want to just be friends with that person. Like, they're really pretty. Um, and then that was really scary because it was like I always like thought that I wasn't that, and then realizing that I was, and then realizing that I would then become the target of all of that like hate. But I would be able to also use like my cloaking superpowers to like be like, no, but I'm dating guys. Like I'm totally straight. And then I like how I like to describe it is like the bag of Ore-Ida fries, like the frozen fries that said like zesty straight. I was like, that's me. And then one day I realized like, oh no, that's no longer me. Um, and it gave me a lot of power and like doing the drag thing too. It's like I feel the like I'm free to express how I want to be. And so over time I've hope that I've like expressed myself in a more gay way, so I don't really have to come out to people. They'll just kind of like look at me and know. Like if you don't know, that's on you. But
Yeah.
I also want to be able to kind of sneak in and out of places. But my family was all really cool about it. I like told them that I broke up with my ex and then that I was bi in like the same conversation. Um, and it went really well, and I don't think any of them were really like surprised. There was like a moment of, oh, really? Oh, okay, that's fine. Um, the gender thing is like a little bit more complicated to describe, and I don't want it to like become a thing. So like I've discussed that with my family a little less, but I'm still trying to come to terms with all of it too. So um, that's been like a harder conversation, but the bisexuality was like no big deal. And again, like I don't think any of them were that surprised. And then so like my friends, I don't think any of them were really surprised too. They were all just like, congrats.
Yeah.
Um, you figured it out. Good for you. And then like um I've been just trying to be more out about it and like more visible, and I want to be like the representation I never really had. So a big thing that I've been putting a lot of my energy towards like since I started drag and this year is I've made my own like science communication organization, which is cool to say, and it's called Them in STEM. So I
Nice.
want it to be that queer representation, especially now that like there's so much anti-queer and anti-trans sentiment going on and like legislation. And so I wanted the them to be very relevant, and but also I can say that it's just them as in everybody, and also to hopefully destigmatize that word as in like them is just everybody. It's not just for non-binary people, it's for everybody. But also it's not scary if there's a queer person teaching science, and I really want to be that, like the Miss Frizzle of drag or the Steve Irwin of drag. Like I want to be that like force of you're you and you're okay, and like who you are is special, and here's like the world is so much more beautiful than you think, and like you're a beautiful part of that world. I'm a science communicating drag queen studying fireflies in my spare time, and like that's fucking cool. And like
Yeah.
I can walk into like a drag karaoke and still like like somehow like light up the room, and it was just like it was cool to like think about how like far I've come in discovering this really cool person that I am. Um, the like spirituality and the sexuality and all of that like have they all play their different parts, and I've been able to kind of bring it all together, and being able to like take a step back from my own head that always tells me that like I'm not enough, or like that I'm a horrible person, and being able to like find definitive evidence of like no, I'm pretty fucking cool, and like if this stranger thinks so, then like that just I feel really special. And so the moments where I get to like get that validation, not that I need the validation, but it's helpful sometimes, and like um it's really nice to get that and realize that there is nothing wrong with me and that I have unique things to offer the world, and that feels pretty good.
Mhm.